Hello, friends. This is Kishen Milaney again with a new and very interesting guest, Mr. Ajay Vaswani, who is also a chartered accountant and a very good friend of mine. Ajay has a varied experience in taxation. इनकी जो टैक्स की स्पेशलाइजेशन है दैट इज इन एनआरआई टैक्सेस एंड फेमा. सो आज बहुत सारी चीजें हम अजय से सीखेंगे. सो वेलकम अजय ऑन दिस पॉडकास्ट टुडे.
Thank you. It's been an honor to be at your channel and delighted opportunity. Thank you for that.
Sure, Ajay. Ajay, let us know about your background in brief. How did you start and how did you reach this place?
Sure. So born and brought up in a joint family at Nagpur, and first among the entire family to be a chartered accountant. So my dad happens to be a doctor, brother happens to be a diamond merchant. No one else happens to be a chartered accountant. So I'm a first generation chartered accountant. And apart from being a chartered accountant, I'm also a company secretary, law and a commerce graduate. So I did these triple qualifications together. And It's been around 12-13 years now. I have been practicing as a chartered accountant, and NRI taxation being my core and exclusive area of practice.
Amazing. So इसमें जैसे मैंने देखा है अजय, आपका स्पेशलाइजेशन जो है वो एनआरआई टैक्सेशन में है. सो कैन यू टेल अस मोर कि एनआरआई टैक्सेशन क्या होता है? बिकॉज यूजुअली हमें जो आदत होती है लोकल सीएस की विद इन द कंट्री, वो ये होती है कि हमारे जो रेगुलर टैक्सेस हैं, टैक्स रिटर्न फाइल करने हैं, टैक्स प्लानिंग करनी है, ये सब चीज़. सो आप वो भी करते हो या केवल एनआरआईज के लिए ही आप काम करते हो?
So in fact, there is an articleship concept in while we do our CA, we have to work under a chartered accountant for 3 years. And until I qualified as a chartered accountant, I never worked for anything related to a non-resident Indian. I was always into the traditional practice, what you were mentioning. Majority of chartered accountants are into the traditional practice, but I had something in me, and it was a motivation by my parents, rather, I would say, that you should do something very exclusive where you can make a mark for yourself, and it should be something people should correlate with you whenever it comes up. So never ever imagined that I would get into the NRI taxation. So immediately after qualifying as a CA, I went to a personal kind of a visit to UAE, where I was interacting with non-resident Indians. And the moment you introduce yourself, okay, I am Ajay Vaswani, I am a chartered accountant. So you expect some people to come back with the questions to you. So at that moment, people did came up with some very basic questions. In India, usually it doesn't happen. So I was like, why are these people asking me so basic questions? And that moment actually triggered in me, boss, there is a very particular need in this country because people are not educated with the very basic things which they should be knowing about. So that led me to an opportunity to think upon. There is a very big area in this world to practice. Non-residents are in, you name a country and we have Indian diaspora over there. So I came back, and more than my CA finals, I read about the NRI rules and regulations. It was almost a year after I qualified, I was reading about these rules. And then I decided upon I will get into this venture. So this is a very specialized area. For that reason, it's been since day one. I don't have even a single resident client. It's been only and only non-residents which I cater to, and regards to their taxation and FEMA rules, sir.
सो थोड़ा इसके बारे में बताइए, दोनों के बारे में, एनआरआई टैक्सेशन और फेमा रूल्स क्या होते हैं?
So these are basically when the cross-border transactions are happening. So like Indians who are living abroad for good, for their business or their employment purpose. So whatever income they are generating over there in the foreign country, a lot of people do investment in India as well. So what is happening is money is coming from outside India to India, or moving the funds from India to outside India. So these are cross-border transactions which are happening. So at this moment, we define cross-border transaction and where NRI taxation and the FEMA rules come into the picture. So FEMA is more about the banking part. NRI taxation is handling more about the income tax part.
Yeah. So FEMA is something to do with FERA is separate, FEMA is separate.
So FERA is an old name. It has been renamed as FEMA. And FEMA is more about the compliances and reporting at the RBI. So it is about the permissions, allowable and non-allowable transaction for
Okay.
the non-residents. So it governs the banking or cash flow part.
So now I think there is some kind of a rule that you cannot spend a particular amount of money. Beyond that, you can't invest. So is it something to do with that?
No. So investment, there is no limitation to that. The limitation is about 1 million USD that a non-resident Indian can remit outside India from India per annum per person.
Up to 1 million USD.
Up to 1 million USD.
That's about 8 crores.
About 8 crores. Even if you are selling a property in India or you have an inherited property which you are selling today, you can remit that money outside India. So a lot of non-residents are not aware about these rules and regulations also. So this is one thing I can say, this is a takeaway from this podcast, that non-residents can remit up to 1 million USD per annum per person. So that is, close to 8.25 crores.
So I'll just give an example. For example, if somebody has an property here, maybe it's in the joint name of two people, and that property values or it is sold for $1 million of US dollars. So two people can send that money to their destination in US or UK, whichever country, for half of million USD each.
Absolutely right.
And then what happens to the taxes? In India, we have long term. What happens to the taxes there?
So whatever respective capital gain you have, either it would be a short-term capital gain or a long-term capital gain. So the net proceeds which you can remit is, of course, the post-tax money. So TDS is deducted on the gain amount, and whatever is the taxes you have to pay over here, and the balance money you can remit freely.
And there you don't have to pay any taxes because the money is coming as an investment.
Okay, so these depends upon the country to country rules. Like if we talk about the GCC country or particularly about UAE, there is no taxes as such. So that country won't levy. But in US, there is a concept. If you are a resident of US, okay, you pay taxes on your global income. So whatever capital gain that has arisen in India, so primarily it is taxable in India. Plus, US will also tax the same. At the same time, they will give you the benefit of DTAA, that is Double Tax Avoidance Agreement. So US and India have the DTAA. It will never happen that any income is taxed twice. So you will get the proportionate credit for that.
Okay, amazing. So this, even I did not know this. So and vice versa, if NRIs were working there, they send out some money to India. What is the scene then? Because they're already paying taxes there.
So that money is free to come to India. There is no compliances in that or any taxes to be paid, because this is just a mere transfer of money from one bank account to another bank account. So on transfer, there is no concept of levy of taxes. It is only you have to see the source of origination of the income, which defines the taxability in a particular country. So if NRI who is working in a Singapore on a salaried basis, so whatever salary he is getting over there while working, he has to pay taxes on that in the respective country, that is Singapore. The money which is there after the payment of taxes, he is free to remit in India and invest in whatever he wants to do. So India will never levy taxes on the transfer part.
All right, great. Okay. So Ajay, coming back to the NRI taxes, I know it's a little tricky because many people, including real estate consultants, some of them, some may be a little more learned or they would have made some study, are not aware about these NRI taxes, which have TDS, which has to be deducted. So this is a very, very typical subject when a transaction is happening and the seller is an NRI. That is the time this problem occurs. उसका TDS डिडक्ट करना होता है, क्या परसेंटेज से डिडक्ट करना होता है, and how does this whole thing work, and it's very time consuming. So वो क्या है? Can you explain that to us, please?
So this is a very pain point that you have picked up, Kishan, and every NRI who is looking to sell a property in India has to undergo this pain point, and it is very bothering. See, I work for NRIs day in, day out. I interact with them, and the very first communication I have with them. So NRI, if he is looking to sell a property in India, there is tax deducted at source at a rate of 20%, plus surcharge plus education cess. So it goes effectively on a highest value till 23.92%. So if an individual who is a non-resident Indian and selling a property in India, so his TDS would be deducted would be 23 lakh 92,000, which is 23.92%. Whereas if you and me who are resident of India and selling a property, if the value is above 50 lakh, TDS is 1%. So now the difference is 1% to 20% between resident and a non-resident. And majority of the time, NRIs think that this money has gone. This is the tax they have paid. Eventually, it is not the scenario. It is nothing but an advance tax which you pay to the government in anticipation that whatever your future tax liability will arise at the moment you file your tax return, it would be adjusted in that. So if your 23 lakh 92,000 TDS is deducted, and this is a case of a long-term capital loss, eventually you don't have to pay any taxes to the government. Whenever you file your income tax return, you are eligible to claim the entire 23.92 lakh back, and government will pay you the refund for the same. Only thing is, this money would be stuck with the government resources for a period at least, like if transaction is happening today, so it would be stuck with almost 18 to 20 months. This is the average we have seen. And an NRI who is in distress or in urgent need of money, maybe he wants to spend that money for his kids' education or any other purpose, or he has a better investment opportunity. So he's losing upon an opportunity to get this almost 24 lakh rupee. So there is an alternative available where he can go to the concerned assessing officer, that is income tax officer, and apply for a lower TDS certificate. Even this is a very cumbersome process. It is not very easy to get the lower TDS certificate. But since I have been working exclusively into this, I know how exactly this works. It has been very easy process for us to get the lower TDS certificate. So considering the same example, if it is a long-term capital loss, you don't have to pay any taxes to the government. You are eligible to get a 0% lower TDS certificate. You just go with the documents required. It's basically your KYC, your purchase deed, your agreement to sale, and related documents, and officer will get you a 0% certificate. You give the same to the buyer, and on that there would be no TDS deducted. So this is one good area where non-residents can benefit. So what is happening is they are using the entire money which is otherwise stuck with the government.
Correct. So you, if somebody approaches you, I know because some of my friends have told me that Ajay has got this job done for us, and he was very quick to get this thing done. Otherwise, 3 से 6 महीने का वेट वहाँ करना होता और पैसा फंस जाता, तो क्लाइंट सौदा भी खराब होता, डील और ऑल्सो वाज गोइंग बैड.
फर्क पड़ता है ना, फर्क पड़ता है, बिकॉज क्या होता है, बायर भी इम्पेशेंट हो जाता है, सेलर भी इम्पेशेंट हो जाता है अगर टाइम लग रहा है तो. यू हैव टू मैनेज बोथ बायर एंड सेलर.
Correct.
So this process has to be quick, and with the experience we have, so we work pan India and we do almost 3 to 4 transactions on daily basis. My average time is turnaround time is 15 days. So that is a very good turnaround time considering.
So you're saying 15 days में आप उसको क्लियर करके दे दोगे, आप जितना उसका टैक्स का लायबिलिटी है उतना ही आप कटवा के बाकी पैसा आप उसको मिल जाएगा.
Right. This is what we do. This is what we do.
Okay. So it's like a magic. आप उसको पेन पे बाम लगा रहे हो.
So honestly, yes, you can say, and this comes with the experience and expertise in handling NRI clients.
Yeah, I'm sure because we have testimonials. A few people have told me that Ajay has got this job done, and because of that, the deal got saved. नहीं तो transaction was going for a toss.
Right, it happens. I have personally seen things happening. Yeah.
Ajay, since you do NRI taxing, which are the other relevant taxes which affect NRIs?
Honestly, there are no other taxes, because in India there is only one concept of income tax, and second is about the FEMA. One thing which comes into picture is while they come back to India for good and become resident of India is Black Money Act, because then Forex is involved. So that is one thing which comes into importance only when they come back to India for good. So otherwise it is always income tax and the FEMA which is important for them. So there is no other taxes.
So as long as they kind of adhere to that, there is no problem.
Right.
Ajay, another question that I had in mind, since you are dealing with NRIs, I wanted to know how do you foresee NRIs investing in India? Because real estate में बहुत पैसा अब और बढ़ रहा है. I think after the GST, after ERA, लोगों का भरोसा बढ़ गया है रियल एस्टेट इंडिया में. सो बाहर से बहुत पैसा अभी इंडियन रियल एस्टेट में लग रहा है डिफरेंट सिटीज में. ये 7-8 आईटी सिटीज आर लीडिंग द पैक, लेकिन ऑलमोस्ट हर सिटी में पैसा आ रहा है जहाँ के रेजिडेंट्स वो होंगे. सो what do you feel? Is this there to stay? Are people looking at investing in India, NRIs? And do you have any statistics for this?
So statistics, of course, vary, but what we can see upon is the trend, and it is based on 2-3 factors. We are seeing a lot of NRIs investing in India. Number one is the connection to the mother country. Of course, they have been living abroad, but the love for the country never goes, and they always feel safe when it is about their having an investment in India. So that is one reason why we see a lot of real estate investments happening. Second is diversification of the investments. The country has been progressing. You and me have seen how things have changed. The rules and regulations are becoming more easy, compliant. The economy has been at all-time high. So this is one good attraction the non-residents have. They want to be the part of the progressing India. So the returns are very good comparatively. So of course we are talking about not only the real estate here, but the ecosystem what we have in the pan India. So the stock market is at all time high, equity is giving a good return. So people want to have an experience of all the investment opportunities. So putting all their eggs into different baskets, that is one of the reason that people are putting the money into the real estate as well. The number 3 point which is very important is the amount that is available to be spent is comparatively very higher side if you have to see the disposable income. So after all the expenses and all things done, they have a disposable income available. So that money is majorly coming to India. So and real estate is one good area because you are not only getting the capital appreciation or your real estate investment, but you are also generating the passive income through the rentals. So that has also been one of the key attraction point for investments to happen in real estate for NRIs.
Yeah, especially this third point that you said. This comes quite true because the rate of interest there is hardly anything. They hardly get anything, and here, even in residential properties, they tend to make about 2 to 3%. So, which is quite okay. Capital appreciation is there. So that may be a reason why people are also looking at buying multiple houses. My point, Ajay, do you think NRIs feel little more safer compared to earlier years? Because earlier there was no RERA, and we had NRIs investing with us in India when I started my business around 92. तो अराउंड 92 और 94 के बीच में बड़ी तेजी का दौर था. सप्लाई कम थी, डिमांड ज़्यादा थी, तो लॉट ऑफ एनआरआईज स्टार्टेड इन्वेस्टिंग मनी इन इंडिया. एंड देन आई नो दैट डेवलपर्स डिड नॉट कीप अप देयर प्रोमिसेस. जो बोलते थे डिलीवरीज नहीं आई कभी, प्रोजेक्ट्स बने ही नहीं, ब्लूप्रिंट पे प्रोजेक्ट्स बिक जाते थे. सो उसके बाद फिर एनआरआईज को भी थोड़ा दे वर टेकन अबैक कि दिस इज यहाँ पर फेक बहुत ज्यादा होता है, फ्रॉड्स बहुत ज्यादा होते हैं, एंड पीपल डिडंट वांट टू इन्वेस्ट मनी. सो स्केप्टिकल थे काफी लोग पैसा इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए. सो ये साइकिल्स में ये दे कम बैक एंड अगेन दे रिट्रैक्ट. अब क्या सीन है? आपको लगता है नाउ दैट फियर इज नॉट देयर इन देम, दैट डिलीवरी नहीं मिलेगी या प्रोडक्ट नहीं बनेगा?
So what you are mentioning is absolutely right, and I would say specifically for NRIs who have been abroad for over 2 or 3 decades. So they are the key people who have experienced both the things. So investing in late 90s or right now, it has been a big difference, and it is not only about the rules and regulations; it is more about the technology also which has impacted. So last 6-7 years, particularly after the RERA and the GST coming in, lot of transparency has come into picture, but at the same time technology has also evolved. So the way construction used to happen way back, it was more of a manual thing, labor oriented. Now systems have taken place. You see a slab being built in every 15 day, a high rise apartment being completed, delivered in 2 years. So this has brought even more flexibility for the developers to complete the projects on time. And with transparencies coming in RERA, you have to keep the money separately in a different bank account. The concept is there. So this has definitely given I would say, cushion to the non-resident Indian. And this is a very basic reason they have burned their fingers in the past. So that is the fear always a non-resident had in, again, investing in real estate. But the people who have done the investment have seen the difference now. So there is more comfort now. Transparency is there. And of course, working with good developers helps.
And good realtors also.
Of course, of course. So we see now how realtors are playing a very important role, and transparency is the key. So that is one thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, what are the Ajay? What are the core values that guide your decision making in whatever you do?
So it has to be, first of all, you have to be very professional and integrity. And the third is client centric approach. So if these three things are there, you would always take a right decision for your client.
Yeah, integrity meaning I know there's lot because the big money is at stake. तो यहाँ की बात अगर वहाँ चली गई तो वो भी कहीं ना कहीं डैमेज कर देती है. So that is something also part of integrity which you have to keep to yourself.
बहुत फर्क पड़ता है उससे, बहुत फर्क पड़ता है, honestly. Yes.
Yeah, amazing, very nice. Can you give me an example of a client benefiting out of your services? You've been serving a lot of NRI clients. Any example that you would have of a client benefiting from you?
So, Kishan, I would say here that, see, there are, of course, a lot of chartered accountants in India. And going with the statistics, I would tell you, there are close to 350,000 chartered accountants in India. And almost 50% would be in practice. And every other chartered accountant, of course, this is nothing against them. They are all a part of my profession. They are my brothers and sisters. And I myself represent Chartered Accountant Association. So, but for them, what happens is out of 100 clients they have, 99% of the time it will happen that they have resident clients only. So they are more into income tax, GST, auditing, banking, finance part for the resident Indians. So exceptionally, they would have one or two non-resident clients. So it is but obvious that major focus is always on the resident part. For me, it is the other way. So if you come and ask me anything about GST, I absolutely don't understand what is GST because I have never got an opportunity to read and work on that subject. So I will say sorry for that if you come to me for GST. But when you are coming for NRI taxation, and that is the key area which a non-resident Indian would like to, that of course plays a very crucial role because you see the difference in the delivery. I exactly know what is their expectation. So it will not happen that if an NRI calls me and says, okay, Ajay, this is the situation, I will never ever say that, okay, I will get back to you. I don't read and come back because I have gone through the experience and the expertise. I try to deliver on the same call itself. So this is what a non-resident want, a quick response and the right response. So this gives an edge. So I have a lot of NRI who are facing investigations, and this is again a area which has picked up very recently with AI coming into systems getting developed. Income tax has a very robust system now. So the notices and the assessments has drastically increased. I would say it is 10x now. So
Can you tell us more about this investigation? What is this all about?
So what happens is a non-resident Indian otherwise would be having a very basic income in India. So they only file for the income which is being generated in India. So maybe you'll have some deposits or saving interest and whatever comes. So 2-3 lakh, 4 lakh rupee if you are filing your return and you are buying assets like anything in India. You are buying asset for 3 crore, 4 crore, putting money into deposits. So this is disbalance or disproportionate assets versus income what you are reporting. So income tax picks up cases to understand, okay, Mr. Kishan, you are a non-resident Indian and you have bought a property for 2 crore. Explain us the sources of investments. So that comes into play that we have to create a trail. How did you get this money? What was the sources? Was it a bona fide income you had? So income tax is interested in knowing the sources of these investments. So this is what investigations are there, and it has to be handled very professionally, and it has to be addressed. Otherwise, the proceedings can go against you. And I have people who come to me after things have gone wrong for them, and then there is an appellate procedure which we have to go.
Okay, so this usually is handled by the local chartered accountants who are in India who handle Indian taxes.
Right.
So you also specialize in this kind of an investigation processes for NRIs.
Right.
And in your career, any investigation that has gone wrong, which you have set it right? I mean, without naming, can you give us some example? Because this is very interesting.
So what happens is, if you are not able to explain the source of investment, the income tax officer would add back the entire amount of investment as undisclosed income, and you will have to pay taxes on that. So they will pass an order against you that this is the so and so calculation, and there would be a demand against you. So what we go then is, we either go to the commissioner appeals. Okay, we present the facts and the material available. What is the biggest challenge is the investigations can even go back up to 10 years. The biggest challenge comes into is getting the paper trail. So having a bank statement available for 16, 17 or 18, so like I'm talking 7, 8, 10 years back. So this is the biggest challenge. So we exactly know how to get the things in the order. We help our clients in getting these documents and creating the trail. And this is what the investigation wing is looking forward to hear upon. So I had a lot of cases. So I cannot quote you just one, two, but almost there are more than 50, 60 cases which we have ensured the client is in the beneficial position at the appellate level. So, and this is a big time relief. Eventually, if a 2 crore amount is added back to your income, there would be a liability which will be close to what, even 30%, if I have to say the basic thing, it is close to 50, 60 lakh rupees. A liability which is hanging on your head for 60 lakh rupees for nothing wrong which you have done. This is a grave concern for non-residents. What if we come to in India? Would we be stopped in the immigration control? Will police arrest us? So this is the fear which non-resident Indians have in their mind, which is not the scenario.
And the amount is very big.
Amount is very big, and mediocre NRI who is living and earning has just made one investment and he is getting into this situation. This is very offending for them.
So to make it right, don't you think at the beginning itself, before investing, if he takes advice from his chartered accountant or you like NRI chartered accountant, and then gets into investments, then he would not even face this kind of a situation.
True, absolutely true. That is what value we add to our clients. This is the exact value addition. It helps.
Ajay, let me know any your mistakes and how did you overcome them, and what was the learning out of that?
So, the I would not say mistake, but I would say miscalculation which I have faced. Never ever do a professional assignment which you are not good into that.
Okay.
So people see that opportunities coming in, take up the work and delegate it or outsource it to someone. And what happens is, now you are paralyzed for the reason, if you don't have the control over your work. So it means you cannot control the third person who would be executing the work. You will face a bad name if the third person fails to deliver it on time or what it was desired upon. So otherwise, you will lose your primary work also. So if I am into NRI taxation and if anyone comes to me and asks that, do you do this also? So out of the earning I'm looking, I might take up the work and give it to someone else for the execution. Maybe I have a close friend who does the work. I will not see only the money. I will see that, okay, he's my friend. He will also earn along with. But the moment he fails in getting the things delivered, I am the person who will face a bad name. So I have faced a couple of times these things. So my biggest mistake which I have realized, and I have started in principally saying no to the things which I am not into the master. So
okay, so then you have stopped taking those kind of things and stopped favoring friends on that front.
Absolutely. And in fact, I have made more money and more clients by saying no to the people.
Yeah. So as they say, you must know how to say no, how to refuse.
Absolutely. The art of saying no is very important.
That's important. And it is very ably used here. What you say is 100% right. People who are not masters at something. They should not do it. They should only do where they are good at their subject. Their particular subject they should work at. What you say is 100% right. Very relevant in real estate. I do a lot of knowledge sharing on real estate. So I've seen we've got a whole lot of verticals: residential, commercial, lands, and pre-lease now, warehousing, industries. So I've seen people say that we do everything, but that is just not possible. A person cannot do everything. He has to master that particular art and be good at that particular thing. You know. So what you're saying is right. This is now becoming more relevant in today's times. Earlier times, the scene wasn't that big, so people have had enough of time to do all these kind of things. There were only two or three verticals, but now scenario is little bigger. So now people are understanding. Young people who are getting into the business are understanding that they got to be specialized in some particular thing, and people will come to them for that particular subject. That's very important.
So one thing I can add here is be master of one and jack of one. That's it.
Rather than being jack of none. Okay, Ajay, I want to listen to a incidents. It can be funny of any client of yours, because in our day-to-day lives, any profession, any business you take, कुछ ना कुछ ऐसा funny हो जाता है which you sit back and laugh कि यार ये क्या हुआ. So any that kind of an incident that you have.
Of course, होता है ऐसा काफी होता है. And one incident which I regularly quote, I was addressing this seminar in Dubai. So I keep on traveling. I address a lot of NRIs on this subject. And there was a big audience, almost 300 people were in this auditorium. And I was talking on the rules and regulations. So one gentleman rose up and he said कि सर मेरे को बताओ क्या करना है, मैं इंडिया हूँ तो मेरे को जेल नहीं जाना है. I was like इतना पूरा सन्नाटा था हॉल में. And this gentleman rises up and says कि मुझे कंप्लेंट होना है इंडिया में और मेरे को जेल नहीं जाना है. तो I was like बोला सर कोई आपको जेल नहीं भेज रहा है. And yeah, you should be very cautious about the rules and regulations. The worst scenario is that you will have a financial penalty, but no one is putting you behind bars for the non-regulation or non-compliance. So this one incident always brings a smile at my face, just recollecting that.
People are shit scared because ये stepping onto wrong side of law, कहीं ना कहीं कुछ ना कुछ उसका भुगतान तो भरना पड़ता है, तो लोग उससे भी बहुत घबराते हैं.
फर्क पड़ता है, but again people are fearing that इंडिया आएंगे इमिग्रेशन पे हमको पुलिस अरेस्ट कर लेगी just for the reason you have not paid income tax. ऐसा नहीं होता है.
How do you manage your work-life balance? Because मुझे पता है आप बहुत travel भी करते हो within the country, outside the country. You conduct seminars, you do work. आप रोज 3-4 files on an average clear करते हो. So how do you manage all this? How do you manage your family life?
So yeah, this is a very tough part. My working hours are actually extended for the very reason that I have clients in 20 plus countries. So I start my day early, so because I have Australia clients to handle. I close up my work late because I have clients from US, Canada. In morning 7 to 12, I have to be engaged. And what I try to do is I try to develop expertise in my staff. So I train them, I recruit them. And what I do is maximum times I delegate also. So delegation helps you, first of all, thinking on the new developments you need to do. So if every time you are onto the work, you cannot think upon the new extensions, new expansions. Okay. So it is not going to happen that everything you have to do it yourself. So have that in your organization. That is what I have been doing. And this gives me a lot of peace and relaxation and a time to spend with my family. And for that reason, this is by again a choice. My wife, my spouse, also happens to be a chartered accountant, and she also matches exactly my profile. So we both are at work and vacations also together, and we have the similar thought process. So it's been the same profile for her as well. So we
So, but
most of the
then,
time we have vacations. So if we are
so
traveling around,
sorry, continue.
so if we are traveling around, it is a vacation for us. It is not only just work. So leisure is also equally there.
Yeah, I was saying that since she's also in chartered accountant, कभी ऐसा नहीं हुआ कि चलो मैं NRI का हैंडल करता हूँ, आप इंडिया का टैक्स हैंडल करो, and then we've got all the baskets to you.
Never. So, of course, this thing comes up very regularly that I should do that also. But eventually, I have realized one thing: you are known for one thing only. Eventually, it will not happen that individual is known for two different things. So, if you have to
Yes,
leave a mark, it has to be only one thing. The
yeah,
moment I
that's the
start doing
reason.
GST, my expertise is gone. I am no more chartered accountant with expertise in NRI taxation.
Hmm. Yeah. Ajay, what would be the advice that you would give to youngsters? There would be a lot of budding chartered accountants, and maybe ये podcast देख रहे होंगे कुछ. They would want to get into some kind of an profession of chartered accountant. और हो सकता है कि आपकी ये देख के उनको भी लगे कि यार ये बिजनेस अच्छा है. इसमें क्या होता है ना, NRI केस में लोगों के दिमाग में इमीडिएटली आता है कि यू गेट टू ट्रैवल, बहुत ज़्यादा घूमने को मिलेगा, दे कैन ट्रैवल अराउंड. तो हो सकता है यंगस्टर्स बहुत ज़्यादा इसमें इंटरेस्ट लें. सो व्हाट काइंड ऑफ एन एडवाइस वुड यू लाइक टू गिव इट टू दिस बडिंग चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स?
So definitely there is a lot of opportunity to see in this area because every other country you name and there is a good population of non-resident Indians and there is a demand for this work. And of course you get to travel because unless and until you travel and meet people, the clients doesn't have a faith or a confidence upon you. So if anyone comes to you from a rural part and say, okay, I want to work for this particular part, you cannot rely upon him. So another thing which comes at the same time is you have to be visible as well on a constant basis. So I spent like I stay in Dubai for 8-10 days every month, and this has been constant for 12-13 years now. So if I just make one trip or two trip in a year, people are not seeing me. You have to be constantly seen for the other individual to have a confidence. You, yeah, this person is coming to Dubai. He is approachable. We can have a confidence in him. So this is very important. You have to be visible. You have to keep talking on your subject, and that is how you build your brand.
How long you have been doing this NRI taxation?
This is my 13th year of practice.
So, and then this you started with traveling abroad only.
I started with traveling abroad only.
And so, which means constantly for the last 13 years, you have been doing this and traveling and meeting people and getting
Right.
to the job.
Right.
Amazing, amazing. This is very, very important that you say consistency in whatever you do. Unless you're consistent, you're not recognized and you're washed out. Somebody who's more consistent is definitely going to get an edge over you in short period of time. So consistency is the key. This is a very important takeaway. Whether you do whatever within the country, outside the country. Amazing, Ajay. Last 13 years we've been traveling continuously. It's pretty tiring. Initially तो अच्छा लगता है कि चलो you get to see the town, city, नई दूसरी country देखने को मिलती है, but कुछ time के बाद में आप बोर भी हो जाते हो. So Ajay, anything else that you would want to add up to today's podcast?
So, yeah, results do come. Don't be in hurry to get the result. Be very consistent, be very constant, and be very honest in the entire process. Don't look for shortcuts. There is absolutely no alternative to hard work. And be engaged. And you should write a lot. You should write about your subject. Social media has a key thing. So I have been talking about NRI taxation on my LinkedIn profile every second, third day, whatever is coming up. I have been writing in all the national media. So this helps in creating your brand, and that is how the confidence also comes into picture. So when an individual is reading about what you have written by a third party, so this also helps in creating your brand. So it is not that just you be sitting in front of your system working 10 to 7. This will not help in building the brand or getting the work.
True, true. Getting out to people, letting them know that you are there, you have arrived, you are in the scene. They only then they are going to approach you and kind of hire your services. Very correct.
Right.
All right, Ajay, it was pretty nice talking to you, and I'm sure today our viewers are going to take in a lot of things from this because NRI taxes is something which is not known to many. So this is a subject which people need to know, and I'm sure आज आपके माध्यम से हम पॉडकास्ट में बहुत सारी चीज़ें हमने कवर की है. मे बी हमको कुछ और सवाल आएंगे लोगों से, एंड we may have to call you again for a different subject on NRIs for sure, Ajay, over a period of time. And that's it. Thank you so much, Ajay, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Very happy to be here at your channel.